Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Why Aren't You on DVD? This is going to be Volume 4 in the series where I talk about 5 different horror-themed movies or TV shows that have never been released onto DVD in the United States. So let's go ahead and get started, and the first one I want to talk about is House 4. Yes, this is House 4, but it's technically the third film in the series. There's another movie called The Horror Show, which was released in another country called House 3. So whenever they made a sequel to House 2, they had to call it House 4 in order to get that title correct in the series and stuff. And because House 3 had already been taken, so they called it House 4, but technically it's the third film in the franchise. The Horror Show really has nothing to do with the franchise. And The Horror Show was recently put out by Scream Factory on Blu-ray. But this is House 4. If I remember, I haven't seen this in a very long time, but if I remember right, there's a scene where a guy's face turns into a pizza. I think, but I'm not entirely correct, but it's something similar to that. But that's House 4, never been released to DVD here in the U.S. I would love to see it because it would complete. It's the last film in the House franchise, and I would love to see it on DVD. Next up is something similar I talked about in the last episode. This one is the Horror Hall of Fame Volume 2. This is the second year that they did the Horror Hall of Fame, and this one is also hosted by Robert Englund, and this one has clips from various different films being inducted into the Hall of Fame with major celebrity guests. I mean, Vincent Price, people like that are in this was put in like 91 or something like that. This was put out on TV, and it also has segments hosted by Chucky, and also commercial breaks. It goes back to the Crypt Keeper, and he does like little introductions into the show again. Very interesting. Love these little things. I wish they would keep doing these, but never been released on DVD or any format whatsoever. Only available on TV back when it once aired. That's the Horror Hall of Fame, Volume 2. Up next is Brian Yuzna's first film, I believe. It's called Society. This one is a very gory and body element type horror film. There's two different versions. There's a R-rated version, and then there's like a unrated version. I'm not sure which one this one is. It does say R-rated on this one, but I've heard from a lot of people that that the extended cut also says R on it too. So I'm not sure which one's more violent and which one's not. But anyway, Society by Brian Yuzna. This is actually a really good movie and is very, very gory. I'm surprised that Scream Factory has not tried to get this one yet, but it's put out by Republic Pictures, and I think Republic Pictures is now owned by Lionsgate, so I think they're the ones that own the rights to this, but I'm not entirely sure. But Brian Yuzna's first film, I believe, Society. Up next is kind of like a horror comedy. It's called Mom. And basically this guy lives with his mother, and his mom is a creature of some sort. It doesn't really, I don't know if they actually describe what kind of creature she is, but she is a creature, and she eats like human flesh and all type of animals and creatures and stuff. And basically he has to feed her and keep her alive, even though she wreaks havoc in his life. And I remember it being really dull but funny at the same time. Not a lot happens in it, but still the parts that do are quite entertaining. So this would be interesting to see a cool edition of Mom. The last film that I want to talk to about is another horror comedy type movie. It's called Blood and Donuts, and this one is about a vampire who has like a relationship problem and stuff. Tries to find like his friendship and girlfriend and all that. And I just remember it being a little different than most vampire films, and I always thought that the title was really odd too. So Blood and Donuts. I love the little donut that he has holding here. Yeah, vampire horror comedy type film. Definitely a different take on the vampire genre, and that is Blood and Donuts. This was put out by Live Entertainment, which I believe is also Lionsgate, so maybe that's why it has been released. Lionsgate owns a lot of generic, weird horror titles they just don't feel the need to put out. And that is 5 titles right there. Again, those 5 titles have never been released on the U.S. DVD format in any form. Thanks you guys for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this one. If you have any questions about other titles and stuff you think I should do or anything like that, just let me know and I'll try to get to them. But thanks guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Later.